You know, folks, I'm not a fan of the UFC. I hardly ever watch it. I think I might have watched 2 or 3 fights in my entire life. So when Bryce Mitchell came across my news feed talking about how that he was no longer a Trump supporter, I didn't know who he was. And I began to dig in and realize who he was. And I'd actually heard him talk before about Elon Musk. And when I saw this video that I'm going to play here in just a second, I was really glad to see him starting to wake up and walk away from MAGA and walk away from Donald Trump. I know that I'm pretty hardcore sometimes about people like this, and I say to myself, and I say to you all, I'm not going to be exchanging Christmas cards with them anytime soon. And the reason I say that, and for the Bryce Mitchells of the world to understand where we're coming from when we say that, it's just that Donald Trump has absolutely gaslit and beat us down for the last 10 years so hard and demonized us as vermin, saying we should be rooted out like vermin, saying we're the enemy from within. And we have just been up against the absolute stupidest people known to man that have just tried so hard to dumb us down with them that it's really hard when someone does finally wake up, because you're like, okay, it took you long enough. And I don't mean that to be like a hard ass about it, and I don't mean that in no disrespectful way here to Bryce Mitchell. I'm glad that he sees through it. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this particular one is the reason why that he's seen through it. I'm an agnostic who was brought up in church. I've talked about it here on the channel before. I was brought up in a Pentecostal church. And so Bryce, one of the reasons he talks about is he feels Donald Trump could be the Antichrist. And I can tell you that as an agnostic today who was brought up in the Pentecostal church, that thought has crossed my mind too. So we're going to play this clip here from Bryce Mitchell, and then we're going to talk more about it.
Hey, I want to let y'all know I'm not with Donald Trump no more. I don't support him. I don't like him. I think he's a corrupted leader. And, yeah, it took me a while to come to that conclusion, but I finally am coming to it. I do not like the guy at all. The first thing for me was he didn't release the Epstein files. They're even acting like they didn't exist. And then, of course, they're sending Israel and Ukraine all of our tax dollars, just like the numbnuts before him did. Putting America last. And now he's blaming the beef farmers for the price of beef. Hey, I'm not biased, man. He talked a good game. He tricked me. I was fooled. I admit it. Okay, now let me tell you how bad I think this is, though. This is really this bad, guys. I want y'all, if you're a Christian, I want you to get into Revelation 13:3, and I want you to read that verse. Yeah, about the Antichrist, about the one who was fatally wounded in the head. Then he was miraculously healed, and the whole world marveled at him and said no man can make war with him. Yeah, I do think that Donald Trump is that beast of Revelation 13:3. Yeah, go read it. Go read it. There ain't another man that's ever walked the planet that fits Revelation 13:3. Then read the rest of the chapter, and it'll tell you the mark of the beast is coming in 42 months. Now, I'm not saying that I know that Donald Trump is this man of Revelation 13:3. I'm just saying he's the only one who could be right now. Go read Revelation 13. He's the only man that fits that description. Yeah, and I'm totally done with the dude. He's done to me. He's done. He's a goner. He's compromised. He's right up there with the rest of the pedophiles, man. And it sucks to say that because I supported him for a long time, but he's a good actor, and he had me fooled for a long, long time. God bless y'all, and thank you.
And I tell you, I know here on the channel before, I've been pretty hard about the people that walk away from Donald Trump, but the reason why that I featured this clip and wanted to talk about it is because I respect the way that he went about it, in that he said, I got duped, I got tricked, the guy's a good actor. So many people that walks away, and don't get me wrong, I'm glad when they do, but so many of them that walk away still try to paint it off like, well, both sides are the same. They're all in it together. And they try to take that approach like, oh, we've all been duped. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves. It's like, no, we ain't all been duped. We all seen through this for a long time. I'm glad he finally came around. And he came around because Donald Trump didn't fulfill the promises that he thought Trump was going to fulfill. He was thinking the Epstein files would be released. And when they weren't released, he looked around and said, wait a minute, why are you hiding this? Why are you not bringing this out? Why are you not draining the swamp and exposing the deep state like you said you were? And then he sees Trump putting America last, and speaks up about it and says out loud that I was tricked. Now, the part that really jumped out at me, though, when I saw the video was him talking about Trump potentially being the Antichrist. potentially being the beast from Revelation 13:3. I was brought up in church and became agnostic later in life. But I've said here on the channel many times, I really do feel like I believe in Jesus more than MAGA does, because I can't stand to see his words get bastardized. And I'm glad that Bryce Mitchell brought this point out, because this is the type of stuff that might actually stick in a MAGA Christian's head, because they do truly fear the Antichrist. And I really hope that maybe Bryce Mitchell planted some seeds here with people who follows him and followed Trump also. Maybe they'll hear that and go, wait a minute, I never thought of it that way. I'm going to read you here what he's talking about. So it's the beast of the sea from Revelation chapter 13. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head was the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were at the feet of the bear, and his mouth were as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death. And his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there were given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Now again, I'm agnostic, and I really don't believe this is the word of God. I believe this is the word of men that's been edited more times than any book in human history. However, like Bryce Mitchell said, if you read that and just think of Donald Trump, when you look here and it says that they will give him the power, right here, they will give him power was given to him to continue. Well, the Supreme Court definitely did give Donald Trump all the power that he needed. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And the power was given to him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwelt on the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed by the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. And again, I'm agnostic, but if you read that, like Bryce Mitchell said, and you think about Donald Trump, it definitely does fit the bill. And that's what's funny to me, is that someone as an agnostic who's walked away from the church and doesn't believe or have any intention of ever going back to a church, I do, because of my upbringing, look at Donald Trump and say he absolutely is an antichrist, because he is completely against anything that Jesus Christ ever taught. He's completely on the opposite side of that. And he truly is a wolf in sheep's clothing. And the thing is, what I've tried to point out to Christians over the years is that the Bible doesn't say that the beast and the Antichrist is going to come along and, look like he's going to a Marilyn Manson concert. That's not how they're going to look. They're going to come off deceitful. And the way they're going to come off deceitful is to come out saying they're on your side. They're fighting for Christianity. They're fighting for America. And underneath that, they're only out for themselves. Now, I don't really believe that story is true in the Bible. I believe that John the Revelator was on psilocybin mushrooms at best. But anyway, that's another story, another time. But it definitely does fit, and it definitely does make you wonder. And if you were brought up in church, there has to be that moment where you look over and go, dang, he definitely fits that description pretty damn well. And it's pretty scary, because if there were to be any truth to that book, if someone said, Brando, we have concrete evidence with any shadow of a doubt that the book of Revelation is true, then I would say, oh, well, this definitely fits right with Donald Trump, because I watched him deceive ministers who I looked up to as a kid, ministers who baptized me, ministers who I sat under, who I had great respect for. I just watched them get sucked down into the Trump rabbit hole and defend him, and it all goes back to his racism, and that was disappointing as well. But maybe people like Bryce Mitchell will cause people to wake up. That's why that I wanted to feature the video, because I hope that more people hears that and more people takes this into consideration, especially those who goes to church every Sunday and just sits there and listens to the minister. Why don't you knock the dust off that Bible and read it a little bit and see for yourself, because this guy, regardless of whether he's an antichrist or not, or regardless if there's any truth to that book, he definitely is an antichrist by definition. He's nothing like Jesus Christ. It's an insult that he ever picked up the mantle of Christianity. And the ones that helped him fall for it and didn't jump off the ship, in my mind, they're just as bad as anyone else. So I'm glad that Bryce Mitchell came around, and I hope more people will hear his video and be inspired by it, because we need more people to wake up. And what I really appreciated about it was that he didn't make no excuses. He didn't blame it on none of the rest of us. He said, I was duped, I was tricked. And that's what we really need to hear. That's what I need to hear someone say. That's the type of person I could sit down and talk with. I'm not going to sit down and talk with somebody who's throwing racism and white supremacy bullshit in my face and trying to scream over me so they can put it in a headline that they own Tennessee Brando. But if they want to sit down and have a conversation like that, I'd be willing to have it. And I appreciate y'all so much for supporting what it is that I do. We will continue to call it out, and I hope more people like Bryce Mitchell wakes up to the fact that Donald Trump truly is as antichrist as they come.